Hello and welcome one and all to the WordSmith. Today I am so excited because we step into a world where melody meets myth, where cinema and song entwine, our focus being the shimmering duet Free, performed by Rumi, aka EJAE, and Jinu, the ever-evocative Andrew Choi, from the film Kpop Demon Hunters. Now, before we dive in, may I gently invite you, dear listener, fellow seeker of musical truth, to please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video so our little creative community may continue to flourish. And if you wish to go further still and support this channel's ongoing odyssey through music and meaning, you may join us on Patreon, fuel the craft via Buy Me a Coffee, send a super thanks, or by even becoming a channel member here on YouTube. And as I have asked for that little request, you will see the honored names of those remarkable souls who already support this channel displayed on your screen. To each and every single one of you, my heartfelt gratitude. Your generosity is the wind beneath the wings of this musical and lyrical endeavor. Now then, let us wander into the world of Free. Okay, so just for a disclaimer, I did actually watch the movie. I think I mentioned that earlier. But the songs were well beyond expectation. And I mean really beyond expectation. They were proper songs that could easily win a Grammy. So there was one that took me by surprise, and it was this. I didn't think about it very deeply, but now that I'm doing a video on it, we're going to be expounding and expanding on it to a degree that I just feel right doing. So here we go. Free. So this is the lyric video. And oh, that tiger was hilarious. He had a big issue with gravity.
I try to hide, but something broke. I try to sing, couldn't hit the notes. The
She's
words
got a
kept
voice.
catching in my throat. I try to smile, I was suffocating though, but here with you, I can finally breathe. You say you're no good, but you're good for me.
That's a
I've
bar.
been hoping to change, now I know we can change, but I won't if you're not by my side.
I mean, that already you can tell that's a hell of a voice, and I'm already getting goosebumps. So, I mean, lyrically, there's a lot to unpack. I did notice quite a few vocal techniques being used, so let's take a look at those. I love how she opens the song. There are three unmistakable qualities that reveal themselves like filaments of light behind a half-drawn curtain. The first is the extraordinary reservoir of power she carries beneath the surface. Now, I say beneath the surface because there is a potency she chooses not to unleash, but to cradle. You hear it in the tautness of her airflow, the way each phrase feels as though it has been pared back, held gently in the palm rather than propelled into the space. This restraint does not diminish her by no means. On the contrary, it imbues her delivery with a sense of quiet, coiled electricity, the kind that suggests a heart still deciding whether to bare itself or retreat into shadow. And secondly, I'm going to call her Rumi. She leans into aspirate onsets, allowing the breath to arrive just ahead of the tone. The whisper-soft initiation creates an atmosphere of vulnerability so intimate it feels almost confessional. The sound blooms like a sign transformed into music. Feather, light, porous, and fragile enough to evoke the impression of someone speaking while still recovering from a tremor in the soul. And in the dramatic context of the movie, of the scene, where she stands at the cusp of fear and revelation, this airy, breath-kissed attack becomes a kind of sonic trembling, a voice that wants to trust, but has not yet convinced itself that it may. Finally, she threads the vocal line with hints of vocal fry. You do hear it. That delicate creaking resonance at the base of phonation, which, when used with intention, carries an astonishing emotional fright. Here, it feels like the residue of unspoken pain, the acoustic imprint of nights spent withholding tears. It gives her words a lived-in texture, a worn softness, as though bravery and exhaustion and coexisting in the same phrase. In the film's narrative, where this performance unfurls like a confession torn free from the ribcage, the vocal fry serves as the reminder that courage is rarely pristine. It is cracked, tentative, and deeply human. And these three techniques that I've just told you about fuse beautifully with the lyrical content itself.
I try to hide, but something broke. I try to sing, couldn't hit the notes. The words kept catching in my throat. I try to smile, I was suffocating though.
So those are just such beautifully powerful lyrics to open up with. The lyrics capture a truth many quietly endure. You know that moment where one's inner fractures can no longer be disguised by composure? I tried to hide, but something broke. Now that speaks to that delicate instant when the facade gives way, not in spectacle, but in a quiet collapse felt only by the heart. I tried to sing, couldn't hit the notes. Now for a singer, that just becomes the worst thing. But here, I believe it's a metaphor for every attempt to carry on as normal, only to realize that even the simplest rhythms of life feel unreachable. But here, it literally means she can't sing. When the words kept catching in my throat, it reflects those times when emotion silences us, when speech becomes a battleground between what we feel and what we fear revealing. And I tried to smile, I was suffocating though, is the most human confession of all. We've all been there. That a smile can sometimes be nothing more than a mask stretched across a breathless, aching truth. And you know what, for me, when I look at those lyrics, they're a mirror. A reminder that we are not alone if you've ever struggled to hold yourself together. They affirm that the cracks we try so hard to conceal are often the very places where honesty, healing, and connection actually begin. And then going on.
Here with you, I can finally breathe.
Now, I love those lines. They speak to the quiet miracle of finding someone who becomes air where life once felt airless. But here with you, I can finally breathe. It just captures that rare, disarming moment, doesn't it? When another person's presence dissolves the tension you've been carrying for years, the kind you didn't even realize had settled into your bones. Breathing becomes more than a physical act. It becomes a release, a soft permission to exist without needing armor. And then this line.
If you say you're no good, but you're good for me.
Now that lyric reveals a profound truth, that people often fail to see the light they carry because they've learned to measure themselves only by their shadows. Yet to someone else, that very light may feel life-giving. I'm reminded that we are often far kinder, far more healing, and far more significant to others than our own inner narratives allow us to believe. And I love it when she continues on.
I've been hoping to change, now I know we can change.
Now, this part of the song, it speaks to the fragile courage that emerges when change no longer feels like a solitary battle. I've been hoping to change, now I know we can change. That just acknowledges that transformation. Once only a distant hope becomes now possible when shared with someone who understands your fractures as well as your potential. It's also the recognition that healing gains momentum when another heart walks beside yours. So we'll go on.
But I won't if you're not by my side.
And that line reveals the vulnerability beneath the hope, the admission that some journeys feel insurmountable alone. It is not dependence, but trust, the understanding that the presence of another can steady trembling resolve. Beautiful writing, excellent music, beautiful singing, all round. Okay, the song is already very impressive, so let's take it back a bit and continue.
No, we can change.
Oh,
But I
love the
won't
vibrato.
if you're not by my side.
Oh.
Why does it feel right every time I let you in? Why does it feel like I can tell you anything? All the secrets that keep me in
Lyrics.
chains, all the damage that might make me dangerous. You got a dark side, guess you're not the only one. What if we both try fighting what we're
This is
running
just,
from?
oh
We
my
can't
word.
fix it if we never face it. What if we find a way to escape it?
Yes.
We could be
Oh gosh, like
we can't fix it if we never face it. Let the past be the past
honestly,
till it's weightless.
the way the song just blended and landed so perfectly into the chorus was seamless. It was perfect. I don't think I've heard a song this year that has done it as well as this has. And hats off to the production. You've outdone yourselves. What astonishes me most in Rumi's performance is the deft, almost preternatural way she sculpts her vocal delivery so that every nuance becomes an extension of the lyrics' inner life. She does not merely sing the words, she embodies them. And this is animated, which makes it even more impressive. It's engraving her emotional truth into their very phonetic contours. There are moments, subtle, fleeting, but when one feels as though her heart is not simply guiding the sound but trembling inside it, as if the music has become a porous membrane through which her private confessions seep into the air, it becomes something else. And this sensitivity becomes especially vivid in this part.
Why does it feel right every time I let you in? Why does it feel like I can tell you anything?
So these words resonate with an exquisite tenderness, a delicate unveiling of trust and vulnerability. The lyrics illuminate the quiet, almost sacred intimacy that arises when a soul allows another to cross its carefully guarded thresholds. It is that sublime, fleeting moment when the heart recognizes a sanctuary where fears, secrets, and fractured pieces of self can be shared without judgment. There is a musicality embedded in the phrasing itself, when you think of it. The rise and fall of each question mirrors the tentative exploration of connection, a breath held in anticipation of acceptance. Now, for me, it's also an invitation and the liberation of opening oneself to recognize that true intimacy is not merely spoken, but profoundly felt in the spaces between words. So then we move on to the next part of the chorus.
All the secrets that keep me in chains and all the damage that might make me dangerous.
Now, I gotta admit, these are some heavy bars. The poignant confessions, revealing the heavy gravity of a soul burdened by its own shadows. There's a raw, very, very raw honesty in admitting the chains of secrets, the inner fractures that could wound both self and another. Yet, within that admission, there is courage. There has to be. The music of the words is almost tactile. You look at words like chains and dangerous. They resonate like low ringing bells, echoing the weight of inner conflict. And for us as listeners, these lines serve once again as a mirror, reflecting that universal struggle of reconciling our darkness with the desire to connect, to be seen. It is in the acknowledgement of these hidden corners that the possibility of healing and liberation begins. Admittedly, a trembling yet hopeful step towards freedom. And then we go on.
You got a dark side, guess you're not the only one. What if we both try fighting what we're running from?
It's such brilliant writing. It truly is. Now, the lyrics take on a quietly revolutionary tenderness, a recognition of shared imperfection and human frailty. In admitting that each bears a dark side as she sings, and she's dissolving isolation, transforming it to accommodate communion. The shadowed corners of the self are no longer prisons but points of connection. The second line that she sings, a tentative proposal to confront rather than evade, carries both vulnerability and defiance, a soft yet insistent call to bravery. And I love the ending bit here.
We can't fix it if we never face it. What if we find a way to escape it?
Whoever made the song is a genius, but that line is just so impactful. It's a clarity that's both sobering and liberating, a gentle insistence on courage as the precursor to healing. There is a starker wisdom here. Avoidance may offer temporary solace, but only confrontation, however painful, can yield transformation in the right direction. The phrasing is deliberately rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat urging us forward, reminding us that the path of freedom is forged in acknowledgement, not denial. The word she uses, escape, is not evasion, but reclamation. The possibility of release from burden, the tender promise that facing what haunts us can, paradoxically, set us free. It is a call to agency, to meet the shadows with open eyes and an open heart. And then the release, the climax of the choral line.
We could be free.
It's sublime. It's breathless exhalation, a musical and emotional liberation crystallized into two simple syllables. Free, and then free again. It's pretty much a mantra, a vibration that lingers in the air like sunlight spilling through a window long shut. It is the echo of possibility made audible, the delicate triumph of hope and courage over fear and restraint. And again, for us, it's an invitation to inhale that freedom, to feel it coursing through the spaces within themselves, and to recognize that emancipation, emotional, spiritual, or artistic, it's just both intimate and universal. And then finally,
We can't fix it if we never face it. Let the past be the past till it's weightless.
again, the words, outstanding. There's a gravity of profound reconciliation, a quiet philosophy woven into melody. The first phrase is an unflinching truth. Healing demands confrontation. It's an honest reckoning with what has been buried or ignored, yet it is tempered by the latter image. Let the past be the past till it's weightless, which evokes patience, tenderness, and the slow alchemy of release. The past is neither denied nor erased. It is gently lifted, transformed by time and understanding, until it no longer drags the spirit down. And you know what? For me, we've all made mistakes. But this is both a balm and a charge to face, to endure, and ultimately to soar unburdened, carrying only what nourishes and frees. Brilliant lyrical writing. Alrighty then. So we're going to get into Jinu's part, I think. So this song it's already floored me, but yeah, let's keep it going. Great timbre. It's got a stunning vocal.
Time goes by and I lose perspective. Yeah, hope only hurts, so I just forget it. But you're breaking through all the thoughts of me when I thought that nobody could. And you're waking up all these parts of me that I thought were buried for good. Between imposter and this monster, I've been lost inside my head. Ain't no choice when all these voices keep me pointing towards no end. It's just easy when I'm with you. No one sees me the way you do. I don't trust it, but I want to. I keep coming back to why does it feel
Very
right?
good song. Okay. So he went really hard on that rap. His rhythmic cadence was absolutely phenomenal. But let's unpack it a little bit more, especially those lyrics, because they resonate so deeply. And then, like a counter melody, slipping into a tapestry already glowing with vulnerability, Jinu steps in. His entrance, marked not by bombast, but by a quietly stunning assuredness. His tone bears that unmistakable, masculine yet subtle and gentle warmth, grounded yet agile, capable of anchoring the emotional weight of the scene even as it threads itself through the rhythmic precision of his rap-inflected delivery. It's punchy, he attacks the lyrics. Where Rumi floats, Jinu strides. Where she breathes in tremulous light, he carves through shadow with a cadence that is both musical and just a vibe, man. And in terms of the lyrics, there is a very deliberate relentlessness. He didn't have to go as hard as he did, but I'm glad he did.
Time goes by and I lose perspective. Yeah, hope only hurts, so I just forget.
I mean, his section resonates so deeply with me. It's the quiet ache of disorientation and weary resignation. We've been there before. It's time that drifts, perspective slips, and hope, so often a fragile lantern in the darkness, becomes a source of pain, prompting retreat and forgetfulness. The phrasing mirrors the cyclical nature of despair, each line almost a sigh, weighted yet intimate. And then there is a shift, the soft implosion of something long barricaded by Jinu as he attacks the lyrics.
But you're breaking through all the dark in me when I thought that nobody could. And you're waking up all these parts of me that I thought were buried for good.
Now, those bars, he hits them so hard. But it's one of the lines from the song's most luminous emotional turns. A moment where vulnerability does not just surface, but it softens because he's bringing them into the light. The imagery of someone breaking through all the dark offers a striking contrast to the earlier sense of weariness and disconnection. It suggests not a sudden blaze of light, but a patient, persistent warmth. Someone gently reaching into the places long abandoned, long dimmed. And you know what? The notion of, what were the lyrics? Waking up parts of me buried for good carries a deeply human truth. I mean, how easily we tuck away whole chambers of ourselves when life becomes too heavy, and how startling it is when another person coaxes them back into motion. It speaks to renewal, but not the grand cinematic kind, rather the subtle reanimation of hope, identity, desire, and tenderness. Again, the words are so good, but they affirm that healing often arrives not as a thunderclap, but as a quiet rediscovery of who we were before the world became too loud. And then finally, the confession plunges into its most introspective terrain.
Between imposter and this monster, I've been lost inside my head. Ain't no choice when all these voices keep me pointed towards nowhere.
This is a long video, but if you look at the lyrics, you can see why. Here, his rap cadence just sort of reasserts itself, but now it's not defensive, it's revelatory, I would say. The rhythmic tightness mirrors the claustrophobic churn of his own thoughts. He tightens the pace, quickens the diction, letting the internal chaos spill out in carefully controlled bursts. The words imposter and monster, again, such a bar, but they land with sharp percussive weight. Two identities he has wrestled with, neither of which grants him peace. The trailing phrase, pointing towards no end. It's delivered with a descending contour, almost a sigh folded into rhythm, capturing the sense of wandering in psychological fog with no clear horizon in sight. These words, man, these lyrics, they plunge into the labyrinth of the mind with haunting precision. They articulate that silent, ceaseless battle between self-doubt and self-condemnation. The imposter whispering that one is unworthy, and the monster growling that one is beyond redemption. The internal landscape becomes a maze of conflicting voices, and we would understand that we're human, each tugging towards oblivion rather than direction. The cadence itself feels claustrophobic, it's tight, but it's mirroring the spiraling thought patterns that offer no escape, no resolution, only an ever-tightening coil of uncertainty. These words are devastatingly relatable. They give language to the invisible wars fought behind quiet eyes, to the moments when one just feels trapped in the echo chambers of the mind. Yet the very act of voicing this torment is an act of defiance, an admission that the confusion, the noise, the paralysis can be named, and perhaps in time overcome. I swear the song is genuinely making me emotional. It just hits hard and it ticks every single box for what a song should be. And it's so good. It's so perfect. For me, already this is one of the songs of the year. So let's take it back a little bit and let's just keep this going.
No one sees me the way you do. I don't trust it, but I want to. I keep coming back to why does it feel right every time I let you in? Why does it feel like I can tell you anything? We can't fix it if we never face it. What if we find a way to escape it?
Them singing together.
We can't fix it if we never
Okay, wait, just before she goes off, and I can hear that power sort of now breaking free. But the way their voices blend, and that's the word, blend. The way they blend together is perfect. And I mean, vocally speaking, everything that you would want them to do, they've done, and even more so. So there's a lot to unpack. The chorus just seems so much more weighty when they sing as a duet. And the harmony, absolutely stunning. But let's dive deeper into it. When they sing together, kind of lost for words, but when Rumi and Jinu merge their voices, the effect is nothing short of transcendent. It is as though two separate emotional climates, her trembling but brave luminosity and his dusky gravity that's so weighted, suddenly discovers they were always part of the same weather system. Their timbres do not simply blend, they interfold, creating a harmonic chemistry so naturally balanced, so exquisitely fused, that it feels less like a duet and more like two halves of a single, long-silenced truth finally learning to speak in unison. And Rumi brings her breathless tenderness, that ethereal shimmer born of restraint and emotional transparency. Jinu meets her with a tone shaped by grit and introspection, a resonance burnished by shadows but softened by the warmth he finds in her presence. When these qualities collide, an alchemy occurs. Her light refracts through his depth, and his depth gives her light a place to settle. The result is a sonic tapestry of astonishing cohesion, a blend that feels both cinematic and heartbreakingly human. And you know what? What makes their union truly glorious is not mere technical compatibility, though that alone would be quite remarkable. It is the truthfulness threaded through every note. You can hear it unmistakably in the way their vowels align, in the gentleness with which their dynamic arcs lean toward one another. It's so brilliant. In the instinctive give and take of breath and tone, their voices do not perform the lyrics, they inhabit them, they become them. Every phrase feels lived, every harmony feels shared, as though they are not singing about liberation, but momentarily stepping into it together. Okay, now, I love this part. Well, I love this entire song, but here we go. Till it's weightless.
Let the past be the past till it's weightless.
Wide open mouth. Oh, bless my soul. Oh, that's so good. Elongated on the vowel. It's such good singing from her. And brilliant bit of singing as well from Jinu. It's so good. I mean, there have been songs this year that I've reacted to that have been great, but this is just, it's not even up there. It's at the top. It's one of my absolute favorite songs that I've heard. all year. It's the best song I've heard all year. So let's take a look at the vocal technique being used by both, as well as the architecture and the song building, because Jinu is also doing something very, very important for the narrative of the story, the movie. Like as if the song couldn't get any better. With breathtaking inevitability, Rumi ascends into the post-chorus, releasing the full splendor of a voice she has, until this moment, kept delicately leashed. It is here that her technique feels, or rather reveals, its architectural brilliance. The shift into belting is not abrupt or theatrical for its own sake. It feels earned, like the emotional equivalent of a surprise breaking across a long, darkened sky. Her mouth would be, technically speaking, open very wide, and you can hear the vertical lift, the spaciousness of the oral cavity. It's just granting the tone a resonant freedom that rings with resonance and radiance. The previously restrained power that I referred to earlier, humming beneath her earlier vulnerability, finally bursts forth in a clean, soaring stream of sound that dazzles without ever losing its emotional honesty. It is a thrilling transformation. The fragile whisper of the verse becomes a clarion declaration, a moment where the inner courage she has been quietly nurturing suddenly blossoms into full voice. And my goodness, were our ears blessed by that? Absolutely. Her belt carries that glorious combination of openness, breath support, and emotional precision that turns a simple line into a cinematic apex. And then, parallel to her, Jinu threads the end of each phrase with his powerful cutting free. It's a sonic counterpoint that feels almost like the echo of her hope reverberating through the emotional landscape of the song. His tone is gentle, more melodic than before, functioning not as a spotlight but as a harmonic embrace around her soaring line. It is the perfect complement where she flies and he flies with her, and they're both together hand in hand in affirmation. His interjections, his additions to the song, they are subtle assurances, as though he is placing his hand in hers, and it's steadying her in the air. They are grounded yet off the ground together. It's such a tender interplay in its fullest expression in their shared lines when you look at them. You know what? The emotional architecture is nothing short of exquisite. Rumi's belt carries the surge of a heart, flinging wide open, an invitation to step into something brave and boundaryless. Her vowels bloom with openness, her consonants soften just enough to let the sound ring unimpeded. And the timbre gleams with that unmistakable blend of strength and tenderness that marks a truly skilled belter. And then again, Jinu, when he sings his two words, free, becomes the heartbeat of the moment. Rhythmic, steady, supportive. His voice sits lower, rounder, functioning almost as the musical shadow to her light. Together, they render the phrase not merely as lyrical sentiment, but as shared intention. And within the story, within the movie narrative, two voices healing the fracture lines of their past, one declaration at a time. And the lyric is a gentle summons toward connection and restoration. The open hand is both invitation and promise, a gesture of trust extended across the fractures of the past. The question that follows is soft yet momentous. What if healing is possible? The quiet echo of free, it swells like a rising breath, suggesting that liberation is not found alone, but in the courage to reach out, to mend, and to move forward together. Okay, Let's continue. Beautiful production.
I tried to hide, but something broke. I couldn't sing, but you give me hope.
We can't fix it if we never face it. Let the past be the past till
my
it's
days.
weightless.
Honestly, best song of the year. Hands down. I haven't reacted to the other two. If you would like me to, more than happy. But this song, everything about it, perfect. It is so ultimately human in the way it is made. And the music, everything that they're doing serves the lyrics so well and serves the narrative of the movie to a degree that very few movies have ever done when they touch into music. And as someone who is well versed in lyric writing, songwriting, poetry, and music, when a movie does go into song and dance or whatever it is, you want them to do it well. And this is K-pop. This is an animation. And I think they've done it better than 95% of song-based movies or music-orientated movies that I've watched. So let's dive into the final bit of the lyrics and get into our final thoughts. This was outstanding, brilliant, just the absolute best. So these lines from a quietly devastating arc, ladies and gentlemen, tracing the fragile journey from collapse to courage with extraordinary emotional clarity. I tried to hide, but something broke. Again, we've heard this line, but now I feel like it captures that shattering moment when concealment fails, when the armor cracks and the truth long suppressed insists on being seen. I couldn't sing, but you give me hope. Now the lyric transforms that fracture into a flicker of renewal. The voice, once silenced by pain and weakened by pain, finds its strength reflected in the presence of another who believes, who steadies, who rekindles. And then, following on, the next lines expand that awakening into a philosophy of healing. We can't fix it if we never face it. Sober, necessary confession. A reminder that avoidance only deepens the wound, whereas courage, however trembling, opens the path to restoration. And finally, let the past be the past till it's weightless. Offers a vision of liberation so gentle and profound, it feels almost like a blessing. It suggests that the past is not an enemy to be vanquished, but a burden to be gradually relinquished, piece by piece, until it drifts away like dust in the sunlight. There's a lot that we can learn from this song. Who has ever been broken, faltered, hoped, or healed? They chart the map from hiding to honesty, from silence to song, a beautifully human reminder that freedom begins the moment we dare to face ourselves and continues when we let go enough to rise. And honestly, though I spend my days steeped in melody and metaphor, creating music, writing poetry, and unraveling the intricacies of song on a podcast, this piece has struck me with a force that borders on the ineffable. It has reached into some quiet, unguarded chamber of my heart and my spirit and just set it ringing, inspiring me in a way that feels almost beyond the reach of language. I don't have the words to describe how this song makes me feel. The song now just stands without hesitation, one of my favorite songs of all time. And that, I assure you, is no trivial accolade. And if it isn't the same for you, that's perfectly fine. Musical connection is a deeply personal alchemy. But even so, we must grant honor where it is due. What these artists and movie makers have produced is something extraordinary, and it deserves to be recognized with the full measure of admiration it commands. Thanks for watching, folks. Please do subscribe, like, and share. Comment below with what I should react to next, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Cheers.